Time to get loaded on Lansdowne.
I like that.
I like that. It's all fake though, because it's actually a club soda because I'm drinking wine.
Attaboy.
But I'll drink the soda too.
Love the game.
Welcome to episode, what do we got? Is this 77?
77, Ray Bork.
7. All right, episode number 77 of the Loaded on Lansdowne podcast, Red Sox podcast. I'm your host, Mark Jacaris. Alongside me, as always, virtually, of course, is Andrew Andrews. Andy, how you doing?
Doing great. Baseball's not happening, but hey, we'll get there.
Yeah. Well, that's going to be basically the topic of the day for this podcast.
I'm starting to really turn.
Yeah.
I'm starting to get just almost burned into the ground. You know?
Well, I mean, honestly, the longer it goes, the less I care, to be honest with you. And,
yeah.
Baseball's my favorite sport, obviously. I love going to Fenway, Park. Love taking my kids there. Love going with you, obviously.
Thanks,
the more it drags. Well, sometimes I like going with you.
Yeah. We've all had our moments.
Yeah, the more it drags on, it's like anything else. You get used to. I don't forget that there aren't games on. Do you know what I'm saying? Where before I'd be like, oh, the rep, and then you just kind of stop.
Yeah. No, we're kind of beyond that point.
Yep. And and the longer it goes on, the more ridiculous it'll get. So I think it was last week the owners made a proposal to the players union, which was obviously preposterous, and the players union shot down the owners. And this, I think it was earlier this week, right? And then the players union came back with their proposal.
Yeah, but so we went from they're going to end up at 61 games. I think everyone realizes this, but it's okay. Owners are saying 50 games. Players are like, no, our counter proposal is 140, 120 or something. It's
it's
not even close.
Yeah, it's not. They're not close. They're not close to where they need to be.
Tony Clark is a complete buffoon.
Yeah, I mean,
he's been getting pounded by the owners for years and years, and the Players Association has been getting killed, and now he's desperate to get a win. Right.
And it looks like he's really not the players. Well, what do you think? Who's going to make out better on this? I say the owners are going to make out better.
It's so crazy because it's a time when I agree with the players 100%. The owners are going to lose money. Tough shit, dude. You've been making money hand over fist for years, okay? You still refuse to admit there's any problem with the game.
Mm-hmm.
But then every time the players try to make their point about why they shouldn't be taking these cuts and things like that, I mean, just to back it up, it's the idea that the owners want to basically the owners want more games. They really do. But they make most of their money in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay? And the players make no money in the playoffs.
Right.
So the owners are saying, well, if we're going to play, let's call it 100 games, we can't pay you a game check for all that because we're going to lose money because of what they claim is it is crazy. Baseball is the only sport like that. They make over 50% of their revenue on the gate.
Right.
No other sport is like that. They make the other regional. And this is what baseball still. This is the players' biggest problem too. The players still think they're the number one sport in America.
Right.
Which is insane. They're not even close. Okay, and I'm going to get to that in a second.
Mm-hmm.
But so they want this idea of so now the owners say, well, we can't give you a full game check, and the players say, no, we have to get a game check, and the owners say, all right, fine, if you want a game check, 50 games.
Right.
We'll give you the game check. We're just not playing. We're paying the same amount regardless, dummy.
Right.
And the players just right now they think that's an absolute joke. And 48 games is the last thing I heard. Any less than that, it's not baseball anymore.
Right.
You can't. You're going to end up with guys. You're going to end up with shit teams like you're going to end up with the fucking Padres and the Reds in the playoffs because they happen to, if you play, 30 games?
Yeah.
Okay, so the Padres just happen to start the season like 12-2.
Yeah, you
know what I mean? All of a sudden now they're in the play. Like, are you kidding me?
Right.
All right. So it just they completely lost it though. But if you look at the players, really have a chance, I think, to kind of. I think in the long run, the owners want some kind of lockout, especially now because the players are going to look terrible if they strike. They don't want a lockout. I'm sorry, they want to strike.
Yeah.
Because if they strike, they're going to look terrible, and the owners are going to crush them in the collective bargaining.
Right.
Let's remember just a couple weeks ago. Hold on one second.
The CBA is coming up too.
Yeah, 2021.
Yeah, it's coming up. So I mean, there's a lot at stake, and I know a lot. While you're looking through your notes, I know that a lot of baseball writers have been writing about, the real jeopardy that baseball's in. I think it was I get Chris Spears' newsletter there from 108 Stitches or whatever from the Boston Globe, and he says if they don't figure this out, it could be 17 months without any sort of any sort of baseball.
Amazing hockey, NBA, and NFL is always great. Sprinting to the finish. You're like, oh my God, guys. As it is right now, even if you come back, I'm going to have to choose in between a Celtics playoff game, a Bruins playoff game, or a whatever.
Basically like a spring training baseball.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Okay, so first of all, let's play a little game.
All right.
Name who said this. I'm not splitting no revenue. I want all mine.
Are these players on the Red Sox or just Major League Baseball?
No, this is a very famous person recently. Who's it's a very famous quote recently. It was all over. Okay.
Oh, man, I've been off Twitter for.
It's been you actually said this quote here. Okay, this is from way back. I'm just catching everyone up.
Yep.
Bro, y'all gotta understand too, because y'all gonna be like, bro, play for the love of the game. Man, what's wrong with you, bro? Money should not be a thing. Bro, I'm risking my life. What do you mean?
Well, that's Blake Snell.
There you go. Okay. That is your representative in the baseball world.
Yeah.
All right. This sport that I got to tell you, man, I'm getting very close to my life mission being that, like, just proving that baseball players are douchebags.
Yeah.
It's getting bananas. So this is him. Now, just for contrast, Chris Letang. He's the player representative for the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Okay.
Now, to give you a little history, the Penguins are currently 5th in the East. The top 4 teams in the East automatically are in the playoffs. They're playing a round-robin tournament to see who gets seeding. Okay, the Bruins, Tampa Bay, Philly. Is it Philly? Maybe. I know it's Washington, and I think it's Philly. Maybe Columbus. Whatever. Pittsburgh is 5th. So that now puts them into a tournament between the 5th and the 12th place. 5-game series to get into the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they're playing the 12th seed, the Canadiens. Anything can happen in 5 games. Because we're talking a team.
That sounds awesome.
If any team though is getting porked, it's the Pittsburgh Penguins. You understand what I'm saying? Like, they were comfortable 5th seed in the playoffs. Okay, so they're getting porked. Chris Letang here said that they vote yes. They voted, even though the team's getting porked, his team voted yes. And he said, at the end of the day, just listen to the difference between a hockey player and a fucking douchebag baseball player, okay? At the end of the day, and how much – this guy is one of the top money-making defensemen. He's not even close to what Blake Snell, okay, little blood-born guy who's making. And I'm so off of Blake Snell right now.
Yeah.
He's been making me so much mad. At the end of the day, nobody gets exactly what we want, Letang said. But we all want what's best for hockey and to continue to grow the game. We have a union for everyone to express our views. Whatever the format is, some agree, some don't. As a union, we want to make the best decisions over time for the greater good of everybody.
Yeah.
Like, come on, dude.
Yep. No, I mean, you look at the articulation of that compared to what Snell put out there, but
and I realize one's kind of more he was prepared to talk to a guy, but like
he wasn't on Twitch playing video games.
Blake Snell playing in video games is speaking for your union.
Well, I gotta say something too, and it's to your point. When I did the Zoom calls, I did 2 Zoom calls, right? The one with JD Martinez and JBJ and Benintendi, and then I did one with Erod, Devers, and geez, who the hell was the other guy? Oh, Xander Bogaerts. Sorry.
Bogaerts, yeah.
I gotta tell you, even though they were 2 different Zooms, I never got the feeling from any of those guys that they really missed playing the game.
Really? Wasn't
I just never got the feeling that they were like, oh man, trying to get back. Everyone's like, yeah, I'm like spending time with my family. Like JD Martinez is like, I'm fishing on my boat. They're all saying, yeah, we work out in the morning, we do our workouts, and then they play video games all afternoon.
Did you see what Felger did? He did that little exercise he did with the rest of the crew this week.
No, I didn't see it.
He showed him pictures of Major League Baseball players, like close-ups, so you couldn't see their uniforms. And we're talking about like the dude from the Mets there, the rookie, Alfonso, right?
Yeah, Pete Alfonso. Yep.
Who's amazing. Whoever was leading like the National League in RBI, someone who's been on the All-Star team the last 3 years, and they're like, "Who is this guy?" And people are like, The only person who knew was Jimmy Stewart because he does fantasy baseball still.
Right.
That is it. We're talking about people. I mean, Maserati is paid to be in baseball. And now listen, you could argue he's been kind of in cruise control the last couple of years, but whatever.
Right.
All right. So it's like, are you kidding? Like, they don't even know who these people are.
Yeah. No, it's
and he was 100% right. Baseball has no clue
how to market their players.
The reality is.
They know how to market the players. They're tone deaf. The players, a lot of them, just even listening to the Zooms, like they don't sound too bright.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's like, I don't know if it's because, a lot of them, a lot of them just have high school educations or, where you got hockey and, hockey, football, basketball, obviously.
I think the language thing for a lot of them. In all fairness, I think the language thing for a lot of them is kind of an issue too. Some calls and stuff. So I think that might be, but it's just, it's thinking that you're still like a top tier, like, dude.
This isn't the 50s.
Mark McGwire, like, they came back in the 90s there when you had the McGwire, when you had the Sosa, when you had the Bonds, when the Red Sox finally won the World Series. Like, I mean, that was happening, dude. Those days are over, man.
Yep. Red Sox-Yankees rivalries meant something. Dodgers and Giants fans were literally killing each other in parking lots. Like no one.
The whole idea that they're not going to. I don't know. I think it's going to end up being about maybe 60 games if they can figure it out, because then, that'll be kind of in between for everybody. But it's a sour taste right now for me with baseball. It's kind of, if it doesn't happen, like I want it to happen. I enjoy baseball during the summer. It's just, there's a little comfort knowing that every night except Monday you can just turn it on. It's there. You know what I mean? Even if you miss the first 2 hours or 4 or whatever.
First 4 hours.
When everyone else goes to bed, you can watch the end of it. You know what I mean? Kind of one of those things. So I want it. But in the back of my head, I'm kind of getting towards the, like, you know what? Fuck you guys. Don't do it and see what happens. See what happens if you don't have a season.
Right. Well, I'm not a big basketball guy. I loved the NBA in the 80s. That was like, the NBA in the 80s and 90s was phenomenal with obviously with our local team with the Celtics, but like, watching Jordan, Barkley. You want to talk about guys that everyone knew, household names, right? Even if they didn't play for your team, right? So I mean, that was phenomenal. But if the NBA comes back, and it's going to, they're starting to open up their facilities now. What are they looking for? June 30th, I think, is when they want to start.
Yes, to get started.
Okay.
Yep.
So they want to start back up June 30th, man. And I will be on my couch with a beer watching the NBA like it was my job. And I wouldn't do that unless the Celtics probably made a deep playoff run or something.
Are you clicking a pen or something?
Yeah. Want me to stop?
Yeah, seriously, dude. Come on, you're a professional.
Yeah. I am.
You're clicking a pen while we're recording audio. But listen, but even now, you talk about the everyday guys. I can name a lot, and I don't like the NBA.
Yeah, I don't either.
Just because of pure the Q rating, whatever.
Right.
I can name / recognize a lot of NBA players.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
No doubt. And football's a little bit different because they're all wearing helmets and stuff. But
football though, they figured that out. Yeah.
And I mean, hockey's weird because you got people from all over the world. Not that you don't in other sports, but hockey,
but
very international.
Hockey also accepts that it's kind of a niche sport. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like hockey fans accept that, like, yeah, no one down south. You know what I mean? Like, it's an understood thing.
Yeah.
And baseball is very regional right now, man. Regional right now.
Yeah. Well, I think it's baseball.
We're blind because we follow the Boston fucking Red Sox.
Right. Well, that's the thing is that you look at the region we live in, and the region we live in is probably more, well, football's number one everywhere, but the region we live in is probably that's way more baseball centric than the Southeast, Mississippi, Alabama, Louisiana, Florida. You think they give a damn? What, you think someone in Louisiana is like, what are they even close to? Texas, I guess.
Well, listen, sports up here should count their blessings. They're not competing with college.
Right.
I mean, that's a whole nother world those guys got to deal with in Texas, and
right.
Which
we don't really. I don't do college sports. Like I don't watch college sports. I just don't have the bandwidth for it nor the time. I'll watch a little bit of March Madness and I'll watch some of the bowl games, but I'll actually watch the Beanpot. Too. I like watching the Beanpot.
But like, why wouldn't you watch AHL? You know what I mean? I watch Beanpot and stuff like that, but like to be a college, like I love hockey. To really follow college hockey, it's like you might as well watch like the Providence Bruins. I mean, they're better.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
yeah. Hey,
I never got that.
When I go to the Bruins, that's who I go see. I go see the Providence Bruins. I can't afford the real Bruins. Yeah, so I mean, NBA is coming back, NHL is coming back, MLS is coming back. Andy,
whoa! Stop the presses.
Are you psyched?
Oh man, it's really unfortunate they can't have fans because I'm sure that's not fair. I know there's 2 teams on the West Coast who actually have fans that show up.
Yeah, the Seattle Sounders have a sick fan.
And Portland too. Portland Lumberjacks or
something like that.
I don't know. I got like 9 inappropriate things I won't go with. But,
I used to love going to. I like going to the MLS games with my daughter, but I'm not gonna sit and watch the Revolution on TV with no fans. That ain't happening.
No, and it's fun to go with your daughter because
I drink
you're not
beer.
Completely sad that you're not getting hammered drunk. You know what I mean? You're like, yeah, it's all right. I'll just sit here and not drink. You know what I mean? It's like, whatever.
Well, I think they have fireworks after every game, so
stuff like that.
So I just stop and then we wait for the fireworks, and then by that
time to get relaxed.
I've had a cup of coffee and I'm good to go.
You're at the Patriots with your kids. You're like, crap. This would be way better if I funneled 9 beers before I walked in.
I've never taken my kids to a Patriots game. I didn't go to.
Well, kids, this would be way better instead of you guys. Fireball.
I know, right?
Right, yeah.
I wish I was with my buddies drinking Fireball.
Yeah.
A lot better, but no, I'm with you.
I could either bring my kids or a bucket full of nips.
Yeah, exactly. Did you go to Patriots games when you were a kid?
No, not at all.
My father never.
I was in Western Mass in upstate New York until 4th grade anyways, but no, we never.
Yeah, my father, and he told me straight up, he's like, I'm not taking you there because that's when it was like,
man.
Yeah, that's when it was like bleachers and people were like beating the living shit out of each other.
Schaefer Field was a tough scene, man.
The first game I did go to, I think I was 22. The first Patriots game I actually attended,
I went to one in middle school because I had friends who knew somebody. We actually got to go up like in the NBC booth. It was actually kind of cool. But
Yeah.
I never it wasn't until college when I went again.
Yeah, I was in my 20s, and they played the first game I ever went to. They actually played the Rams. It was the year they beat the Rams in the Super Bowl, 2001. So I was older than 20. I was 26 or something. I don't know, whatever. So yeah, they played the Rams. They lost by, I think it was a touchdown. What's his name? Their running back there in 2001. He fumbled on the 1 yard line.
2001.
Antoine Smith.
Yeah, Antoine Smith. Yep.
And he fumbled on the 1 yard line, and
Wow.
we lost. But then the next game I went to, which was the same season, I believe, they played the Dallas Cowboys, and again, back in those days, you literally had benches that just had numbers on them.
Yeah.
It was like a suggestion to where you should.
No, those were weird. I remember the one time I went with those benches. It was.
Yeah, and everyone's standing up anyway because those benches were awful.
But if you had a big fat fuck, you were in trouble,
dude.
Now though, I gotta tell you, it's
the fight that broke out though, Andy, right in front of us. Boom, boom. People are going off on each other. This Patriots fan and this Cowboys fan. There was like blood and stuff. I was like, this is wild.
I think now going to a Patriots game is so overrated. I think it's one of the most overrated takes. Before the game's obviously a lot of fun. Once you're in there, after the first quarter, I'm ready to be lying on the couch and taking a snooze. You know what I mean? Yep. It's just, and the people in the stadium now are so pretentious.
Yeah.
I've only been in the lower bowl, and it's like people stand up and sit down. It's like, dude, people can stand up at a stadium. You didn't buy the rule. You bought that area where the seat is.
Right.
If you want to sit, you sit. If you want to, you can sit on the ground in that area if you want it. You know what I mean? There's no rule what you're gonna fucking do.
You could sit on the ground, put your seat down, and eat your ribs or whatever from the
whatever
seat.
you want to do. And it really does that. I don't know. It's not the best. I don't love it. I think it's an overrated thing. I like watching football on TV because, honestly, it's so confusing. I kind of like having someone who, after every play, tells me what happened. Yeah. It's nice to have a coach.
Yeah, I mean, I never played the game, so all the information that I've ever acquired about football, I've gotten from TV analysts. You know what I mean? So that's about it. So Pedro Martinez made some comments about the whole baseball thing, and he said.
I didn't hear these. I didn't even look him up because I wanted to hear him fresh.
Yeah. So, it was pretty straightforward. He was with his wife, and, he basically said, and I know that other guys have been criticized. A-Rod, said something a couple of weeks ago about, doing it for the love of the game. And then a couple of players kind of, pushed back on him and was like, yeah, you made your, $300 million, whatever that.
Both those guys are working for the man though now. You know what I mean?
Right.
Come on.
So he got a little bit of flack for that, but Pedro came out and said, it wasn't really about the love of the game. He basically was like, think of the fans that are struggling through this. And we're locked up at home, whatever. There's obviously things are starting to come back, but we're not going to be anywhere near normal, I would say, even until spring 2021. So I mean, he was basically that was his position.
Here's my thing. You know what? Fuck the fans. Okay, you don't owe them anything.
Yeah.
My biggest thing is the Players Association only cares about that. It's a microcosm of our world right now, I guess. That small select few that's making that $30 million. We've talked about this. You know what I mean? Right. You got one guy who makes $10 million. You got another couple guys who make $3 million. Your average is $6 million a year. And because all Major League Baseball PA wants to do is talk about the average salary. Right. And these guys who really aren't making that much money are getting porked.
Yeah. Oh, and yeah. People on league minimum, dude, which is what?
That deal where only the highest paid. That deal where only the couple highest paid ones took a little bit of a hit and everyone else got full pay.
Yeah.
shame on them for not doing that for once, for taking a
Right.
little bit of a hit for the guys. You know what I mean?
Right.
And they were talking about this. I've heard this in a couple places now. They have it in writing that any decisions made for this year will not affect going forward, will not be used against you in collective bargaining agreements and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The players union distrusts the league so much. They want it. It's in writing.
Yeah.
That they can't use it. Which, I mean, listen, they could obviously, it's in their head. You know what I mean?
Right.
But but you can't say it's a pre-whatever case. You know what I mean? It's something that's happened before. It's insane, dude.
And listen, getting back to our, kind of original thoughts on this and about how baseball's shooting itself in the foot here. Don't even, not even talking about Major League Baseball. Minor leaguers are getting cut and laid off.
Yeah.
What's his face? Manfred.
I know.
Manfred is 41. I think it was for next year. I think 41 minor league teams were going to be abolished.
Have we talked since David Price made that nice gesture?
No, we tweeted about it. Yeah, I know. It breaks your heart.
Hate it when guys you fucking hate do something nice.
It breaks your heart. And by the way, that was.
I hate him more for doing something nice now. It's like, you dick.
Screw you for making me change my mind about you.
Seriously, man. Don't make me have emotions. Ugh.
So those of you who don't know, David Price is giving $1,000 to every
$1,000
to every Dodgers minor leaguer.
Yeah. Which is a lot of dudes. It's I think it ends up costing them about like $250,000.
Yeah. Right. So yeah, that's a big, that's a big chunk of change. I don't care how much money you're making.
No matter how rich you are, that's a really nice thing to do. And piece of shit. He do it on purpose to make me mad.
Yeah, you really can't fault him for that. Unless, while he's writing the check, if he gets like the carpal tunnel and he can't finish writing.
But if he's great, no. While he's writing the check, he holds up like the playing card. It just kind of like looks like, yeah, who holds the cards now? You piece of fuck.
Yeah. Yeah, so but Manfred's killing minor league baseball too, not even Major League Baseball. So now, and again, to our point, right? If you're in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and all you have are they're actually called the isotopes after the
yeah, that is great.
After the Simpsons. But so now by the way, I don't know if this is true about Albuquerque. I'm just giving that's the first team that popped into my head, right?
Yeah. Take that left in Albuquerque, yeah.
Yeah, so like you're in this, you're in a state that doesn't have a pro baseball team. So, your only baseball is having minor league teams, but that makes you a fan of, and I believe Albuquerque is the Dodgers AAA affiliate. So, you're in New Mexico, but you're a Dodgers fan because you see all the guys go through the ranks in Albuquerque. So now you take that away. What's your vesting interest in the Los Angeles Dodgers if you don't have a team that has a feeder system that goes into the Los Angeles Dodgers? I mean, that's another way that they're killing the sport, and it's just it's sad, man. Baseball had a real opportunity to make this right. When this whole pandemic thing started, I knew, right? I wasn't sure how long this was going, way longer than I thought it was going to go on. But like after about like maybe 3 weeks, I said to myself, well, football is going to football. They're going to get out there and they're going to play because
they're going to play.
They just make things happen. Football.
Yeah,
they're like, let's do it. So I was never concerned about football. Never really concerned about hockey. Basketball, again, I could give or take basketball, so whatever. But I just got this feeling very early on that, like, baseball would screw it up, and here we are. And football is just going along as usual. They're holding drafts. They're doing everything.
Can you imagine the balls it takes to go on strike during a fucking pandemic? Like, just huge, gigantic,
Stupid.
very not self-aware lead balls. balls.
Very arrogant balls. Like,
clueless to your situation of your industry, which is just absolutely great.
Tone deaf, right? And I know, I agree with what you said, is that the players don't owe the fans anything, right? For the most part, we're not.
No, but you should still look at the fans as chips. You know what I mean? There's a dollar sign connected to every single fan. So you do owe the fans enough that you have to keep them involved.
But by the way, I would say this to the players: you don't need us to make money playing baseball. Like, you could play baseball, they could televise it, and you guys could get, do some sort of TV revenue split or whatever the union would do. But you're not going to make as much money if we're not in the park, and we're not watching TV. And I'm not saying to bring back fans. That's the last thing I'm saying. All I'm saying is, like, you do owe us a little bit. I mean, for the amount, you'd probably be making $6 million instead of $30 million.
So your contracts are out of control because people go to freaking baseball games.
Right. And I'm buying a $10, hamburger, and I'm buying a $10 beer, and I'm buying many $10 beers. And
the only thing that would make is if for some reason it didn't happen, if this somehow led to the next collective bargaining, and if I would be really interested to see a world of baseball with a salary cap, a salary floor. I mean, because it's just as ridiculous. These piece of shit teams, they're spending $35 million a year when they're splitting like a something $1 billion TV contract. You have some teams spending $200 million a year, and you have some teams spending $35 million.
Right.
Insane.
Right. And that's what's infuriating about the Tampa Bay Rays.
Yeah, they're actually decent.
Is that I consider them one of the smartest organizations in professional sports.
Yeah.
For the amount of money they pay their players, for the amount of turnaround that happens, because no one there makes it through a whole contract and gets re-signed. I mean,
hey, does this mean that all those minor league players that aren't getting paid are free agents?
No, I don't think so.
It's kind of unfair. So they still own you. They own your rights, but they're not paying you. Because if I was shrewd, I just go around like, hey, I'll pay you this for now.
Right. No, but someone had like a mock free agent draft thing up the other day, and I kind of glanced over it. So I don't know if it's like the players who haven't been tendered or have, what I'm saying, or have been released or
I'm sure some guys have some guaranteed stuff where they're going to get paid, and they're going to.
Yeah, a guy like Rusty Castillo has a guaranteed.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
Contract, So.
Yeah, really. Could this guy's life get even better?
I know.
He was making $28 million a year, playing in fucking Pawtucket, living like a king, probably spending every night in Newport sniffing around the crab shacks. All right, and now the only thing that could be better is Rusty. You know what? You don't need to play baseball anymore.
You don't need to play baseball in the major leagues, and you're already making $75 million. That was his total contract, right? And now you don't even have to actually play in those games.
You know that one thing that interrupted your day? Don't worry about it. It's good.
You don't even have to worry about that.
No. We'll just give you the money.
But speaking of Pawtucket, well, first of all,
you mean the outdoor eating gazebo that is Pawtucket?
Okay, yeah. So did you hear about this?
I heard briefly about it.
Okay, were you toying with the idea of doing this at all? Because I was, and then I was like, this is wicked stupid.
Doing what?
Going to the Paw Sox field to eat like ballpark food.
I mean,
because I got the email and I was like, maybe I'll check it out. And then you know what? We live right on the Rhode Island border, so I was like, why don't we just go into a restaurant?
You have restaurants right down there you can go to.
Why don't we just go into a restaurant in Rhode Island and eat dinner, which we did.
It's still just ballpark food?
Last night. Yeah, at the Paw Sox had this thing where they had like picnic tables set up in the infield. and they had, you could do reservations, and then you could have like chicken fingers, and you can have like hot dogs, and obviously beers and sodas. But it was basically like ballpark food, but you dined out because because what else are they going to do? But it sucks for.
Oh, I heard it differently. I heard they were actually going to make it an outdoor restaurant. Like, I thought it was going to be like a real restaurant. I'm going to drive all the way to Pawtucket to eat
To have a hot dog.
Aramark chicken finger?
Exactly.
What are we doing here?
Yeah, so it's starting this weekend. I think it started tonight, actually. It's supposed to rain, I think, tomorrow, so good luck with that. But I saw a picture. They posted a picture right before we podcast. I mean, it looked cool, but like, I don't know. I'll drive one town over and go to a real restaurant. And
it is pretty wild that they're now building that multi-million-dollar stadium in Worcester for a team that everyone's been fired.
Yeah. Well, I mean, dude, I feel horrible for just the Paw Sox in general. What an awful way to go out, right? You're thinking this is our final season.
They're going to have a season, yeah.
This is our grand finale. And, they never, they're probably not going to get to do that at all. So. Wow.
That is tough. I mean,
yeah, I mean, obviously, like, I went there all the time as a kid. At the end of every baseball season, our coaches took us to the Paw Sox. I mean, that was like,
yeah,
we always did that. And, friends, my dad would take us because it was super cheap. Sometimes the tickets were just free. They just give them away.
I think they'll do all right in Worcester, though. I really do. I think they might get a little more of a draw in Worcester. I think
they will.
Yeah. I want to be like, no, but really you think about people and numbers and where they're drawing from. Now you get Western Mass that can come in. It's not crazy if you're someone in the Springfield, Hatfield, Westfield area, kind of stuff like that to jump. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah. I mean, even like UMass kids, right? The college, colleges a lot closer, so you can kind of check out one of those games. And I was in Worcester last year. I hadn't been in Worcester in 20 years. And I was in Worcester last year. My daughter was in the state science fair. And dude, I couldn't believe the changes. Like, it was.
They're all right. They're working hard.
Yeah, they did. It reminds me of what happened, with Providence, Rhode Island, actually.
My brother swears by the Worcester airport.
Yeah.
Loves it. JetBlue goes out of there. Swears by it.
Wow. Good to know. All right, Andy. Hey, I don't know, man.
There's a lot going on. We're talking about fucking aviation.
What's your favorite New England airport, Andy?
Have you ever parked at lot 4C in Green Airport? Not 4B. Those guys are cocksuckers. All right, 4C is where you go.
Dude, every time we fly, my mother has all these like wacky schemes and plans for us to park in these coupons and like, do this. It's like, Mom, I'm driving up, I'm finding the closest place, I'm parking my car, and I'm just paying full price because I don't want to mess around with all this nonsense and these. She's like, take the printout. I'm like, I will lose this in 1 second. Don't you worry about that. You know what I mean? Just let me park the car and get out. I want to go on vacation. I don't care how much it costs. I've saved up the money. I want it close. I want it close. I want it quick. And I want to get the hell out of there. So whatever.
My father-in-law swears by like in Southwest and the whole not knowing where your seat is before you step on that plane, dude. I can't handle it. Yeah. I don't know how people do it. I
don't mind the airline in general, but
no. Everything else about it, whatever. I don't care. Once I sit, I really don't care. It's not knowing like the
yeah.
Where do I go?
Yeah. Try doing it with 5 other people. It's a blast.
Yeah.
All right. Episode number 77.
77. Ray Borg.
And we are loaded on Lansdowne Red Sox baseball podcast. Hopefully we will have some baseball to talk about this year.
We need something, man. We need something. I I can't follow the Korean baseball league, dude.
No, it's. I tried. I mean, I watched for a while, dude. It's like watching AA baseball. It's brutal.
Yeah, might as well. We're back at watching college.
Yeah, they can't throw strikes, and the guys make errors, and it's a shit show.
Exactly.
But, I'm your host, Mark Chikaris. Alongside me, Andrew Andrews, our producer, and we will see you next week.
All right, peace.